Welcome to the Last Resort Sugar Detox. This is a free online course to walk you through your sugar detox and teach you about sugar addiction. More importantly, it will teach you how to make sugar freedom a lifestyle and not the same old yo-yo diet. Make sure you download the free book below as it corresponds with the videos and you can follow along. If you found us somewhere in the middle of the video series, don't forget to go back to video number 1 and watch the whole series and subscribe for weekly updates. Now grab your free course guide by clicking the link below in the show notes. Here's your next video. Hey, hello, welcome back. I'm not sure if you took a break. I did, certainly. Trying to get this all the way through this course. So the next chapter you'll see in your book is binge eating and sugar disorder. Now, people are going to be curious as to why I'm throwing this part in there, okay? And as I get further into this, I'll tell you a little bit more about it, but it is my belief that for some people, not everyone, now this is the big qualifier, folks, the big quantifier, if you will. For some people, not everyone, maybe you're going to have to gauge that for yourself after your detox, okay? And then possibly re-ingest, I don't know, whatever you decide. We'll give you options, we'll show you what options and how to do that. But for some people, sugar acts as a biochemical drug that makes you feel a little elevated, a little better about yourself. You hear about sugar high, sugar rush, that kind of thing. Certainly you've seen it with children. It's just that they're so hyped up on it and their bodies are so small. But as we reach adulthood, if you're truly a sugar addict like I am, then sugar affects your body in such a way that you have a temporary lift in self-esteem and well-being because it's pumping your serotonin and your what's the other, the receptors in your brain, I can't remember at the time. This is never going to be a science lesson, okay? But there is plenty of science and a lot of references in this course if you are interested in the science. So back to what I was talking about, binge eating and sugar addiction. I believe that binges are just a escalation, if you will, like binge drinking. An escalation of your sugar or flour addiction, your food addiction. Now, I have an issue with the term food addiction because it doesn't delineate or separate food, say sugar and flour, from food, from real food, vegetables, meat, that kind of stuff. And the idea of that processed food, processed sugar, processed flour, these kind of things, could possibly create a biochemical reaction. That right there, that in and of itself, is really the basis of what this course is about and what your freedom will be about once you understand. If you can really just grasp that, then you'll do better as you go. And more than grasp it, if you accept it, just for you. And I know it's hard. I know there's a lot you feel like you may have to give up right now, but you'll see that the freedom is worth much more. So anyway. Binge eating has a specific set of criteria, and binge eating was just named to what's called the DSM-5, which is basically the Bible of psychiatric maladies or ailments. And that's a good thing because it allows people to get treatment for binge eating disorder, or BED, BED as it's called. And binge eating disorder is very, very serious, and I'm not really sure why the powers that be have declared binge eating disorder as a malady as opposed to sugar addiction or food addiction. Those two are not yet named to the DSM-5. They've been presented or they've been caucused about, if you will, talked about, but not yet entered into the book. So with binge eating being entered into the book, DSM-5, now insurance can cover. That's the big thing for you if treatment ends up as being something you might be interested in. So binge eating, I'm going to read these. You'll see them on your screen. But binge eating disorder has a whole host of different symptoms, if you will, that are a little different than sugar addiction, but very, very similar. Overwhelming feelings you cannot control what you're eating and how much you're eating. reoccurring incidents of eating very large amount of foods at one sitting, eating much faster than you normally would or in front of other people, eating to the point where you're uncomfortably full, eating an excess amount of food even though you weren't physically hungry, reoccurring incidents of eating alone due to embarrassment at the amount of food you're eating, overwhelming feelings of shame, guilt, disgust, depression because of what you've just done, massive variations in weight, low or no self-esteem, noticeable decrease in sexual energy or desire, and the desire to try different diets. So, and this goes on and on. There's other, you can read it at our sister site, bingeeating.com. You can take a look at that information if this is something that's holding true. The reason I'm bringing it up now is because a lot of sugar addicts binge. That's just the reality of it from the information that we've got from the site over years and years, is that a lot of sugar addicts binge. And again, one of the guys that he got food addiction way a long time ago, the actual site foodaddiction.com, and he believes it's broken down evenly at about a third. A third of people the people that come to him for help, a third have that biochemical reaction to sugar and flour. A third are just abusing it, literally, like a college student would abuse alcohol, and go on and can change their diet and do fine. In the last third, you're biochemically, flour and sugar cause a biochemical reaction in your body, and abstinence may be the only answer. Now, only you can judge this after a certain period of abstinence. When you go back, one of the things that happens when you go back is you get this instant buzz. You're like you did cocaine or you did some kind of 3 martini lunch. You're just really buzzed after you've been off it for a certain amount of time. That will indicate that you're chemically induced or chemically challenged, if you will, when it comes to sugar and flour. And if you're the other 2/3, then possibly that you can just manage is probably not the right word, but anyway, if binging is something that has been a problem for you or is part of this equation, we have a sister site, bingeeating.com, and I would suggest that you go there. As always, we suggest you check with your doctor on any of these things. We very rarely find doctors have any issues with just stopping sugar for a period of time. It's never really, they say, yeah, sure, fine. No one really objects to that. But if you could possibly have the diagnosis of binge eating disorder, you might want to check over bingeeating.com. Okay, we'll see you in the next lesson. I hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to download the free guide below and follow along. Just follow along in the series as the episodes are all clearly marked. If the next episode is not up yet, then make sure you subscribe so we can notify you when it drops.